From a deer launched 50 feet into the air after being struck on the highway, to a cattle truck crash that left cows spilling across the road. These are some of the most harrowing, heart-stopping, and genuinely terrifying animal vehicle collisions ever captured on camera. A moose flips over car on Finnish highway, 2016. On June 27, 2016, around evening hours, on Valtatie 3's Highway 3 in Kaimola, a rural area near Vantaa in southern Finland, what should have been a routine drive home transformed into one of the most spectacular and terrifying animal collisions ever captured on dashcam footage. The footage begins innocuously enough, just another dashcam recording of a wet evening drive. But then, like something conjured from a nightmare, a large bull moose suddenly darted from the roadside into oncoming traffic. What happened next defied both physics and comprehension. The animal collided head-on with the front of an approaching sedan, causing it to flip spectacularly over the car's roof in a somersault motion before crashing down onto or near a following vehicle. The moose essentially used the car as a launching pad, vaulting through the air in a complete somersault that seemed to suspend the laws of gravity for those terrifying few seconds. The impact was devastating. The impact shattered the sedan's windshield and deformed its hood, while the secondary collision likely caused minor damage to the second car. But in what can only be described as a miracle of physics and fortune, remarkably, no adults were seriously injured, but a young child in the first vehicle sustained minor injuries, possibly cuts or bruises from the jolt, and was able to walk unaided to the arriving ambulance. The aftermath was as surreal as the collision itself. Emergency services responded quickly, and the highway was temporarily closed for investigation and cleanup. The moose, unfortunately, did not survive the impact, suffering fatal injuries on site. This incident became more than just another traffic accident. It became a viral phenomenon that exploded online shortly after the incident, amassing millions of views across platforms due to its raw intensity and the what-if horror it evokes. And just when you think a moose encounter can't get any more intense, the next story proves how quickly these massive animals can turn a simple drive into a heart-stopping ordeal. Tense moose dodge turns deadly on secluded road. Animal collisions on the road can happen in the blink of an eye, turning an ordinary drive into a life-threatening encounter. Few examples capture this better than a dashcam video recorded on January 1, 2000 by YouTuber Suppersound. Years later, on November 2, 2015, the footage resurfaced when it was published by the channel Rumble Viral, quickly shocking viewers around the world. The video opens on a quiet Finnish backroad surrounded by dense trees. It feels routine, almost dull. Heavy metal music plays faintly from the car stereo, the steady hum of the vehicle blending with the stillness of the forest. Everything about the scene suggests an uneventful drive through the countryside. Then, in an instant, everything changes. Without the slightest warning, a massive moose explodes out of the tree line to the right of the vehicle and charges directly across the road. The animal collides head-on with the car at full speed. The force of impact is brutal. The windshield shatters instantly, glass scatters across the dashboard, and the front end of the vehicle crumples beneath the moose's weight. For a moment, all that can be heard is the horrifying mix of crushing metal and breaking glass. Despite the violence of the crash, the outcome is extraordinary. The driver, though shaken, manages to bring the car to a stop without losing control. Even more astonishing, the moose survives. After tumbling off the hood, the animal scrambles back onto its feet, clearly disoriented but strong enough to retreat into the forest. Finland's landscape makes incidents like this an unfortunate reality. With roughly 3/4 of the country covered in woodland, moose frequently cross rural roads, and collisions are a serious danger. Adult moose can weigh anywhere from 400 to 700 kilograms, and when they hit at high speeds, the results are often catastrophic. Each year, Finland records hundreds of moose-related accidents, many leading to injuries, and some even to fatalities. This particular footage stands out not just because it captured such a terrifying collision, but because of its unlikely ending. Both the driver and the moose walked away without life-threatening injuries. The video spread rapidly online, a rare example where viewers could witness one of the most dangerous encounters possible and still see both man and animal survive. But if a moose surviving a highway collision seems unbelievable, the next clip shows a deer turning a routine bus ride into a scene of sheer horror. Deer smashes through bus windshield in Rhode Island. The mundane rhythm of public transportation was shattered in the most literal sense on Monday, June 10, 2024, just after 3:10 p.m. on Warwick Avenue in Warwick, Rhode Island. What began as a routine Ripta bus ride turned into a nightmare when a deer collided with the vehicle in one of the most shocking ways imaginable. Rhode Island may be the nation's smallest state, but deer collisions are an ever-present danger. According to the Department of Environmental Management, 1,374 deer-related crashes were reported in 2023. A 2024 State Farm analysis placed the odds of hitting a deer in Rhode Island at 1 in 75, the 10th highest in the country. Those statistics set the stage for what happened that afternoon. Warwick Avenue, where the crash occurred, cuts through a busy suburban corridor lined with homes, businesses, and patches of green space. White-tailed deer frequently cross from wooded edges into developed areas, creating the perfect storm for high-risk encounters. The Ripta bus surveillance footage begins like countless uneventful rides, the vehicle moving steadily down Warwick Avenue with 6 passengers aboard. Suddenly, a young deer weighing an estimated 150 pounds leaps straight into the windshield at full speed, shattering it in an explosive burst of glass. The deer's body crashes into the cabin, rolling and stumbling down the aisle while panicked passengers scream and scramble. Severely injured, the deer collapses in the aisle and dies minutes later. For passengers, the scene was traumatic. An explosion of glass, blood, and chaos in what should have been a routine commute. The human injuries, while not life-threatening, underscored the seriousness of the collision. 3 passengers sustained cuts to their arms, faces, and necks from flying shards. Driver Leocadio Hernandez, a veteran operator, was able to stop the bus safely and direct passengers to the rear. His composure in the midst of the chaos likely prevented further harm. The official response afterward highlighted Hernandez's quick action. Ripta praised his exceptional alertness and composure, noting that his training and adherence to defensive driving protocols limited the scale of the incident. On June 30, 2024, the Ripta Board of Directors formally recognized his heroism with a commendation plaque. The crash left behind shattered glass, a dead deer, and a shaken group of commuters, but it also underscored a larger reality. Wildlife doesn't recognize human boundaries. Highways, buses, and suburban neighborhoods remain vulnerable to unpredictable collisions. The footage spread rapidly online, becoming a viral sensation for its shocking imagery and symbolism. It served as a chilling reminder that even the most routine journeys can collide with nature in terrifying and unforgettable ways. From a deer crashing through a bus in Rhode Island, the scale of danger jumps dramatically as we head across the globe to a full-grown elephant confronting unsuspecting tourists in Sri Lanka. Elephant attacks car full of tourists in Sri Lanka. Human-elephant conflict in Sri Lanka has surged as development and tourism push ever closer to elephant migration paths. In early 2025, an encounter unfolded near Yala National Park that showed just how quickly a wildlife tourism trip can slide into chaos. What happened was terrifying, not because someone was killed, but because it revealed just how vulnerable humans are when they provoke conditioned wild behavior. A car full of tourists was driving through Yala National Park when an elephant, accustomed to being fed by visitors, attacked. The footage, shared online, shows the elephant using its trunk to smash a window and reach inside the vehicle. The animal lunged, pushing on the side of the car, denting the roof, and using enough force to knock the vehicle over. The wildlife's conditioning is key. Elephants in Yala have come to associate vehicles with free food, tourists handing out bananas, coconuts, or snacks. Over time, this practice changes wild behavior. The elephant that attacked this car grew frustrated when no food was offered and reacted aggressively, apparently expecting treats based on past experience. The escalation was rapid and dangerous. The elephant not only knocked over the vehicle, but tried to chase after another car that was headed towards it. This was not the first such incident in the area. Reports have tied many attacks to illegal feeding. In 2023 alone, several such elephant vehicle encounters were blamed on tourists or locals feeding animals along roadsides. Sri Lanka's wild elephant population, estimated at about 5,800, lives in constant tension with expanding human use of former elephant corridors. When creatures weighing several tons associate humans with food, unpredictable danger follows. After the attack, the vehicle was damaged but drivable. No one was seriously injured. The tourists were shaken, naturally, but escaped with no major physical harm. Minor cuts or bruising from broken glass have not been reported in this version of the story. The video went viral immediately. Passengers' panic, the elephant's strength, and the raw sense that a wild creature had crossed the line into human vulnerability grabbed public attention. Elephant attack and related tags spread widely. Many viewers were forced to consider how much wildlife tourism and feeding the wild practices contribute to incidents that could easily become catastrophes. The incident served as a visceral case study in what happens when wild animals are taught to expect human generosity and then feel slighted. This collision did not involve cars speeding, roads curving, or nightfall. It was daylight, a stationary vehicle, snacks, and a conditioned elephant's frustration. The simplicity of the setup and how quickly it turned dangerous makes this story especially chilling. After witnessing the raw force of an elephant, the next encounter brings us back to North America, where a bison's explosive charge turns a Yellowstone visit into a close-call nightmare. Bison rams minivan in Yellowstone. Yellowstone National Park is one of the last places in the United States where humans and massive wild animals still cross paths daily. But that proximity comes with a cost, especially during late summer when rut season transforms Yellowstone's iconic bison into unpredictable powerhouses. One such encounter in August 2022 showed just how quickly an everyday traffic stop in the park can spiral into a terrifying clash between people and one of America's most dangerous animals.
Oh no, they're coming at us. Oh no, they're fighting right in front of those people.
The setting was classic Yellowstone, a roadside bison jam where 20-30 animals blocked traffic, forcing tourists to stop their vehicles and wait. For most visitors, these delays are just part of the experience, an opportunity to take photos and marvel at the park's wild beauty. But this jam occurred during peak mating season, when male bison, some weighing up to 2,000 pounds, become highly aggressive, competing for dominance and reacting violently to anything they perceive as a threat. That threat, on this day, was a vehicle that inched too close to the herd. Cell phone video recorded by a bystander shows a bull breaking away from the group and focusing its attention on a parked SUV. Witnesses later reported that the bull had been pacing and snorting, displaying classic rut season behavior, before it suddenly lunged.
Oh my gosh, he hit the car. I got it on video.
The impact was shocking. The bison rammed the SUV with full force, its massive head and horns striking the side panels and shaking the vehicle as if it were a toy. The sound of metal crumpling echoed across the road as passengers screamed inside. In those few seconds, the tourists inside went from passive observers to unwilling participants in a primal display of raw power. Miraculously, no one inside was injured. The SUV, however, did not escape unscathed. Video footage shows its rear fender crushed, panels dented, and fluids leaking from underneath, damage estimated at several $1,000s. For park rangers, this incident was not just another accident, but a clear reminder of the danger rutting bulls pose to humans who forget that Yellowstone is not a drive-through zoo. According to the National Park Service, bison injure more visitors in Yellowstone than any other animal, including bears. They can run 3 times faster than humans and charge without warning, particularly during rut season from July to September. Rangers warn tourists to keep at least 25 yards away from bison, but that buffer often collapses in traffic jams where vehicles and animals are forced into close quarters. The August 2022 incident became a viral sensation, with footage spreading across social media and garnering thousands of views. But behind the humor was a sobering truth. Wild animals are unpredictable, and even inside a car, humans are not immune to their power. Just when you think the wild encounters can't get more chaotic, a cattle truck overturns, sending dozens of panicked cows spilling into the night. Cattle truck overturns, spilling cows at liquor store. Animal collisions aren't always about deer darting across the road or moose charging out of the woods. Sometimes the danger comes from within the vehicle itself, especially in rural America, where highways double as lifelines for the livestock industry. That reality was on full display late on Thursday May 7, 2020, in Nailey, Nebraska, when a cattle truck carrying dozens of cows overturned and sent its cargo spilling across the road in a scene that was as chaotic as it was heartbreaking. The crash happened just before midnight at the intersection of Highway 275 and 2nd Street, right outside Lucky Joe's liquor store. Security cameras mounted on the store captured the moment the semi-truck flipped onto its side, sending cows tumbling out of the trailer. Some slid across the pavement, while others bolted into the night, creating a surreal picture of a small town suddenly overrun with livestock. According to reports, the truck driver lost control while making a turn, likely at a speed too high for the conditions. The vehicle skidded and toppled, leaving behind wreckage and terrified animals scattered across the parking lot. One cow even crashed into an ice freezer outside the store before stumbling away. The human toll was limited. The driver, a man in his 40s, sustained minor injuries and was treated at Antelope Memorial Hospital before being released the next day. The animals, however, did not fare as well. 3 cows died instantly from the impact. 4 others were so badly injured that a veterinarian had to euthanize them at the scene. In all, 7 were lost, while 24 others were eventually rounded up and returned to safety. Witnesses described the aftermath as both shocking and tragic. Cows wandered aimlessly through the streets of Nailey, some with cuts and bruises, others simply panicked. Local authorities and residents worked through the night to corral the animals and clear the area. The footage of the crash quickly made its way online, going viral within hours of being shared. Viewers reacted with a mix of disbelief and sorrow, many pointing out how the video revealed the unseen dangers tied to America's food system. In states like Nebraska, where cattle outnumber people, such accidents are not rare. The Nebraska Department of Transportation has recorded dozens of livestock-related crashes each year, underscoring the risks of transporting live cargo on highways designed for standard freight. For many who watched the viral video, the wreck served as a reminder of the hidden costs of industrial agriculture, where animals are moved like freight and lives, both human and animal, can change in an instant. From panicked cows spilling across a roadside to the sudden chaos of a high-speed highway, the next incident shows just how deadly a single deer can be when met by a vehicle barreling at over 100 mph. Minnesota deputy strikes deer at 114 mph. Emergency response driving ranks among the most dangerous tasks in law enforcement, demanding split-second decisions at extreme speeds where the margin between life and death can vanish instantly. On Saturday, October 21, 2017, around 2:30 a.m., Deputy John McCarty of the Asante County Sheriff's Office faced exactly that reality on a dark stretch of County Road 5 just north of Cambridge, Minnesota. What began as a routine emergency call ended with a high-speed wildlife collision that tested his training, reflexes, and survival. Minnesota's highways are especially hazardous during deer season. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety, MNDPS, recorded an average of 1,144 deer vehicle collisions, DVCs, annually between 2016 and 2020, with 18 deaths and 124 serious injuries. In 2017 alone, roughly 1,200 crashes occurred statewide, with October through December marking the most dangerous months due to the rutting season. For McCarty, the biggest threat that night wasn't the call he was rushing to, but the deer waiting unknowingly in his path. The deputy had been dispatched to reports of a man with a gun inside a Cambridge restaurant. Later, the emergency would be revealed as a false alarm, but at the time, the urgency justified maximum speed. With lights and sirens activated, McCarty accelerated his Dodge Charger squad car to 140 mph. At such velocity, reaction time shrinks to fractions of a second. Cresting a slight rise on the rural straightaway, he suddenly faced a doe darting across the road, leaving him with almost no time to respond. Training dictated his response. Instead of swerving, a move that almost certainly would have sent his cruiser rolling at lethal speeds, McCarty braked hard, reducing impact speed to about 100 mph while holding the wheel straight. Dashcam footage shows the front grille striking the deer head-on. The force launched the animal upward, smashing through the windshield in an explosion of glass. The airbags deployed instantly. The hood crumpled and smoke poured from the engine compartment, but crucially, the vehicle stayed in its lane without spinning out. Miraculously, McCarty emerged completely unharmed. He credited both the airbags and his training for saving his life. The deer was killed instantly, but it did not fully enter the cabin, sparing him the additional danger of being struck by thrashing limbs. The squad car, however, was totaled, with damage estimated between $40,000 and $50,000. Following the incident, the sheriff's office cleared McCarty of fault and used the footage as a training tool. Sheriff Chris Kalk summed it up simply: if he swerved, he would have rolled and been injured or worse. Just as one driver's split-second decision on a rural road turned a routine patrol into a near disaster, the next story shows the moment a high-speed rally car sent a deer flying in a dramatic and unforgettable collision. Rally car launches, deer mid-race. Rally racing pushes cars and drivers to their limits across unpredictable terrain, but no amount of preparation can fully protect against the hazards of nature. That reality came crashing into focus during the 2007 Snowdrift Rally in northern Michigan, when a rally car collided with a deer in one of the most memorable wildlife incidents in motorsport. The Snowdrift Rally is known for its icy forest roads and blinding snowbanks, conditions that test skill and endurance. But beyond the technical challenges lies another risk: the region's massive white-tailed deer population. With over 1 million deer roaming Michigan's forests, animal encounters on the road are almost unavoidable, especially in winter when deer are most active. During one of the high-speed stages, a rally car tore through a wooded straightaway at roughly 60-70 mph. Out of nowhere, a large deer bolted across the road and into the vehicle's path. The impact was instant. Footage from the collision showed the deer slamming into the hood before being thrown violently high into the air. Though the car was heavily wrecked, the occupants were unharmed, with the driver racing away. The video of the crash soon spread online, cementing it as one of the most shocking moments in rally history. As one high-speed encounter sent a deer soaring through the air, the next clip shows a similarly shocking moment from the other side of the world, where a kangaroo crashes into a driver's path with terrifying force. Kangaroo smashes into Australian dash cam. The Australian outback represents one of Earth's last truly wild frontiers, where ancient landscapes stretch endlessly under vast skies and wildlife encounters are part of daily life. It was in this setting that a driver named Scott was navigating a dark rural road in early 2015 when he became the unwilling star of one of the most visceral kangaroo collisions ever captured on dashcam footage. Traveling at a moderate speed of roughly 60-80 km/h, his drive was suddenly transformed from routine to unforgettable. Australia's relationship with kangaroo vehicle collisions, KVCs, is unlike anything else in the world. These events are a leading cause of rural road accidents, with a 2015 ACT government report noting that 14% of surveyed drivers had experienced at least one KVC in the prior 3 years. The road conditions in Scott's clip were typical of regional Australia. A single-lane stretch, surrounded by dry scrub, isolated from urban light or sound, and alive only with crickets, created the perfect conditions for a sudden encounter. At around the 6th second mark in the footage, a large eastern grey kangaroo bursts from the roadside vegetation in a single bound, heading directly into the car's path. What followed was brutal. The kangaroo, likely an adult male weighing 50-70 kilos and standing nearly 1.8 meters tall, collided head-on with the car's grille. The momentum carried its body upward before tumbling off the hood and vanishing from view. There was no narration or shouted reaction, just the raw sounds of the crash reverberating through the footage. The silence afterward underscored the violence of what had just occurred. Incredibly, Scott walked away uninjured, though shaken and likely scratched by the shattered windshield. The kangaroo, on the other hand, sustained catastrophic injuries and was presumed killed. The vehicle itself suffered heavy damage, a destroyed windshield needing immediate replacement, dents across the hood, and potential radiator harm. Yet the car remained drivable, showing both the severity of the impact and the resilience of modern builds. When uploaded by Dashcam Owners Australia, the video quickly drew widespread attention. Viewers flooded the comments with recognition and sympathy, many noting similar experiences of their own. As this kangaroo encounter shows the sudden chaos wildlife can unleash, our final entry captures the most extreme moment yet. A deer struck at high speed and launched an astonishing 50 feet into the air. Deer gets hit and flies 50 feet in the air. The physics of high-speed wildlife collisions often produce results so extreme they look more like computer animation than real life. On July 30, 2015, one such moment unfolded on the eastbound lanes of Interstate 64 in southern Indiana. A Volkswagen Beetle traveling at highway speed struck a white-tailed deer in a sequence so violent and bizarre that dashcam footage of the incident quickly spread online, leaving viewers stunned at what they had just seen. Interstate 64 is notorious for wildlife encounters. Stretching 313 miles across Indiana, its rural sections near Knox and Vigo counties cut through rolling hills and dense woodland that serve as prime deer habitat. State crash data regularly cites dozens of deer vehicle collisions, DVCs, along I-64 every year, often in low light conditions when deer are most active. For drivers, it is a constant lottery of timing and reflexes, with little margin for error. This particular crash began like so many others. The dashcam shows a seemingly ordinary evening drive, light traffic, steady speed, nothing unusual in sight. But within seconds, the routine turned catastrophic. From the right-hand shoulder, a mature white-tailed deer suddenly bounded onto the highway. At an estimated 150 pounds, its powerful leap carried it directly into the Beetle's path. The driver had no chance to react. The compact car's front grille struck the deer squarely in the midsection, and the impact launched the animal into the air in an almost cinematic arc, soaring nearly 50 feet before crashing back down on the pavement and tumbling into the median. In those few seconds, physics put on a violent display. The energy transfer, estimated at 5,000 to 7,000 foot-pounds, was sufficient to propel the deer the length of half a football field. As the footage shows, the animal rotated mid-air, legs flailing wildly, creating the uncanny impression of flight. For onlookers, it was a surreal moment, like something pulled from a slapstick cartoon rather than a dashcam. The outcome for the humans inside the car was far less dramatic. Despite a crumpled hood and probable radiator damage, the Volkswagen Beetle remained stable, and the driver managed to pull over without losing control. No airbags deployed, and no injuries were reported. The deer, however, suffered catastrophic injuries and died on impact, its brief airborne moment serving as a grim reminder of the consequences of such collisions. The footage, uploaded later that year to YouTube and shared across multiple viral video pages, quickly gained traction. By 2025, it had accumulated millions of views. This incident, extraordinary as it looked, was not an anomaly. Indiana consistently ranks among the top states for deer vehicle collision risk, with some studies placing odds as high as 1 in 60 for drivers in certain counties. The July 2015 Beetle crash endures as one of the most jaw-dropping examples ever caught on camera. And with that, we've come to the end of this deep dive. For more juicy content like this, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and check out the cards showing on your screen for more videos. Don't forget to comment your thoughts below.